Hello everyone, welcome back to Sonic Creations. So, these 3 episodes are incredible. They released them all put together with an extra added bonus scene with Black Doom at the end, and so it seems now we have a really nice introduction into this game's story, and it's going to be really fun to see how the game actually starts now, picking up from where Shadow Generations left off, the Dark Beginnings that is. So it's really cool that we get to see this long and this in-depth of an introduction that has this much work put into it, attention to detail with the animation, such great voice work. I mean, honestly, Kirk Thornton's Shadow, like, it went from before this game came out to me just being sort of like, yeah, it's alright. Now I'm like totally sold on his Shadow, and I think he's great. I really, really do. I knew that potential was always there though with his voice for the character. I just never liked the script that they were writing, so I know that has something to do with it as well. But yeah, the performances were fantastic, and like I said, the attention to detail with the animation is just incredible. I mean, Omega's sort of like Gatling gun rolling across the floor as he's sliding down that pathway, like that was like just that kind of creative thinking that most people wouldn't think. It's like just making the characters like physically interact with their environment and to get that sort of feedback. It's so good, just all the little details in there. And as for the emotion behind it, I wasn't expecting episode 3 to actually get a little bit emotional, you know, and see these characters interact in a way we have not seen. I don't think at all. I don't think we've ever seen Rouge interact with the Commander, and the Commander is also voiced by Roger Craig Smith, so that was also unexpected, but I didn't like quite recognize his voice right off the bat, and then as soon as I heard him talk more, I was like, oh yeah, that's him. And I actually really like his voice for the character. I hope he's voicing him in the game as well, if he's in the game. Yeah, I would say that is probably, I don't know if I'd put it over the Sonic CD opening because that animation is just so classic and iconic, but this one I'll definitely put over most animated intros for Sonic games. I think this one it's like a first episode of a show or something. It's like a pilot episode. It really would be a shame if they never took advantage of this and made a animated series with it, either like movies or a TV show. I think there's a lot they could do with this kind of tone, this kind of style of animation. I don't know, I'd really love to see something like that. And so now that we're not so far away from Shadow Generations and sort of giving my final thoughts on what I think about how this story is being set up with the Dark Beginnings and how it's being set up for the future with the game story itself. And I think we'll have some sort of feeling of continuation whenever we go to the Frontier sequel, whatever that's going to be called. I'm sure Shadow's going to be involved in that, and we'll see him use his Doom powers like he has here. I don't know, again, that's going to be like a staple of his character moving forward. I think I would kind of like it to be, because it doesn't necessarily take away from, like, he can still do his usual things. It's not like they're changing his character completely, so I don't know, we'll have to see, like, if by defeating Black Doom the DNA in himself dies or something like that and he can no longer use those powers, like some convenient story plot device that they could use in case they don't want to have to use these powers anymore, you know. So like it just depends on the direction they're going to go in with the character. I'm just happy that we're getting Black Doom back. That's a character that I've always thought, oh, that would be really cool if somehow he survived after the events of Shadow the Hedgehog when he was defeated and blown up with the Eclipse Cannon. Maybe some part of his DNA survived or he escaped or something like that. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they handle the references to 06 specifically, because like, are they going to retcon something and say that some of the characters remember those events, or are they going to just retcon everything entirely and everyone's going to be confused about who they are? Or is it going to be somewhere in between, like where Mephiles still remembers, but no one else does, and so he uses that to his advantage? Like, there's a lot of different angles you could take the story, and so that's sort of what I'm interested in, is seeing, like, even if it's going to be a small interaction, how exactly are they going to handle that Mephiles and Shadow interaction, you know? And will Mephiles show up for other characters, you know? Like, will he be around when other characters are around other than Shadow? You know, probably not. It wouldn't feel complete, you know, without Mephiles interacting with Sonic and interacting with, hell, even Tails or Knuckles, you know. It would just be interesting. So yeah, as I've said, really beautiful work on this Dark Beginnings animation. You know, I haven't felt this hyped for a game since Forces, like before that game came out. Everyone was really hyped for it. We didn't know what to expect or how dark the story would be. It seemed like it was going dark, but for some reason they sort of chickened out, and then they used the same writers they used for Lost World, and then we got, you know, Forces. It's like, it's got all the hype that Forces had. It's got all this really good music that's coming out, you know, that, like, it really has this driving force, but at the same time we know it's going to be good. That's the difference, you know, we just know. And the word is out, you know, people who play the demo, they know that the game doesn't control like forces and all that kind of stuff. So it just seems like everything's going in such a great direction for this franchise in general. It's so good to see. Like you're gonna hear me just gush about how happy I am and just satisfied I am with the state of things right now. And it may not seem like that big of a deal, like, oh, what's so great, about we had our droughts, we had our times of franchise sort of going off in this weird direction that no one really wanted it to go in. And a lot of that's different for everyone too. Like everyone has their own timeline where they place that the series went downhill. Like some people think early 2000s or 2010s or now. So I'm still in a very consistent state of whiplash from this game, just throwing all these things at us, like the throwbacks to older games, but also these really new and fresh feeling ideas and much better storytelling and really interesting use of like the white world, and they made it look more interesting. And we're basically getting a Generations sequel that's also a Shadow the Hedgehog sequel. So this is like the best. This is the best game I could ask for, honestly. I think a mixture of Shadow the Hedgehog 2 with Sonic Generations sequel, you get this. I'm all there for that. Like, that's amazing. This is more than just a DLC. It's a sequel. At least that's the way I'm gonna see it. And I'll never forget how good this marketing was up to this point. I think everything that we've seen has just not only like been feeding us what the premise is for the story at a very strategic pace, not giving us too much too soon. And then in that very recent gameplay trailer revealing Nephilus, and they know what they're doing. I mean, they're getting us all hyped up. It's just amazing how confident I can see that they are in this game, because that's just not been the case for many years. So at least in my opinion. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you're new here, I have my own animated series that I do in Gmod. It's just this little thing I started doing, and then it turned into something that now I'm taking a lot more seriously. And we're now on, I think, the 16th episode in total. I don't really know, but we're on Sonic Cybernetics right now. It's the current storyline, and I'm working on episode 7, which is the finale. So a lot of big projects in the works on this channel. We'd love to have you here. We have all different kinds of discussions about anything Sonic related, pretty much. But yes, thank you guys so much for watching. See you in the next video, creators. Peace out.